Almost 2 years ago. Wow. 2 years? Jeez! I beat all four main Arkham games with only one life shared between them. For all of my love for these games, I've done a surprisingly small amount of challenges for them, and so here I am, ready to beat all of the Arkham DLC, tied between the four games, with only one life. Well, 3 games actually, as Arkham Asylum only has challenge rooms, and I will not be counting any DLC that just comprises challenge maps. Only full story DLC. Mayhaps I'll do challenge maps with one life someday, but for now, only the story DLCs. If I die at all, I reset all over again. Otherwise, success is when I can beat all story DLCs for Arkham Origins, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight, all on hard difficulty. What better way to celebrate New Year's Eve than a party crashing from Mr. Freeze and the Penguins gang? I don't know of a better way to spice up a party other than violence and a sprinkle of arson. You'd think everyone in this room would be more eager to escape death by fire, but the intruders are leisurely patrolling without a care, even as I knock them out. Which, yes, the room is on fire and we're leaving a bunch of unconscious people inside of it while we escape. Does that count as murder? But I suppose if we never see the bodies, we can just tell ourselves they escaped. Mr. Freeze is here for revenge, grabbing the evil rich guy Boyle and fleeing. But he leaves me a parting gift of goons using freeze guns of their own. Which is the equivalent of these guys shouting, "Me first, me first! Mr. Batman, sir, please break my bones first!" Which I happily oblige them to ensure they don't fire at me the whole fight. Taking to the city in search of Freeze, I discover a large group of armed men. Which is normal for Gotham, sure, but I do not appreciate how they all like to hang around each other instead of stupidly wandering into a dark corner alone. It's like they want to make my job extra difficult, and if my suit wasn't so bullet resistant, I'd be out of a job completely. It's funny how when they don't know a giant bat is hunting them, they stick together. But once they know they're in danger, their instinct is to split up and become much easier to take down. Genius tactics. Clear they have never seen a horror movie. As any classic supervillain would do, Freeze takes Boyle to the place where Freeze's tragedy began, GothCorp, Boyle's own company. There's a good deal of thugs here, but unlike the last place, they're much more spread out in this giant room, making my work incredibly easy as I have plenty of time to escape before anyone can reach me. Either that, or use my wide range of gadgets to drop their numbers one by one. I even managed to build a little pile of men, since none think to avoid the area where they keep getting picked off. Unfortunately, despite how easily I wipe the floor with them all, I'm frozen out of advancing on Freeze when he betrays the Penguin and blocks my way. Which means it's time to bring the heat. Literally. Donning the bat armor equivalent of wearing a bunch of snow coats, I now have the power to heat bash my way through ice obstacles, and even have heated batarangs for when I want to possibly murder people by dropping large clumps of ice down onto their soft heads. Now able to reach Mr. Freeze as he attempts to rescue his frozen wife from Boyle, I'll need to avoid constant thug patrols and Mr. Freeze himself as I zip around the room, disabling cryoreactors. Honestly, I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but it bothers Freeze, and that's good enough for me. This is not my finest work though, and I keep taking damage as I rush around seeking to ambush Freeze, even when he's surrounded by his helpers. The save profile for this run is on hard, but I don't think it's actually possible to make the Cold Heart DLC anything but normal difficulty, based on how little damage is actually being done to me. I certainly deserve worse. Well, it is not a fast nor a pretty sight, but Freeze is always willing to walk right where he shouldn't, meaning that I can take him down, and in turn, bring down Boyle before he can kill Freeze. Gotham may have gained a new supervillain, but that's one less evil rich dude, and I'd say that's a win in my book. That wraps up Origins DLC, and I can jump through time for Arkham Cities. I'm already trembling in my little booties when I find myself as Catwoman. If you've seen my Arkham City One Life Challenge, then you know I hate playing as Catwoman, as it's just so easy to die as her. I've had a lot more practice since then, as I've trained to beat this whole game without taking damage, but it doesn't change how nervous I am the entire time. Which I'm right to be, as I get killed almost immediately by Poison Ivy's gunmen! That wasn't even a fault of being Catwoman! That was just all me! No point going through all of Origins again just to risk death as Catwoman. As long as I beat every DLC with one life, I don't actually have to go in order. That's just my normal preference. So this time I'm starting with Catwoman's DLC. And this time I realize all these years playing, I'm a complete idiot. Instead of fighting these annoyingly dangerous Ivy gunmen, how about I just sneak past them and skip any risk at all? I prefer that much more. As for Ivy's boss fight against waves of thugs, it used to be a real worry. But now I know better than to do anything but dodging and hitting since I'm Catwoman. There's no need to risk countering. And the Tiger Guards protecting the loot Catwoman wants are always scary with how quickly they could kill me, but my knowledge of how dangerous they are keeps me from acting rash. This one time at least. I patiently wait till I can take them out one by one. Well, except for the last two, and that almost cost me my life, if not for my whip. Then I just have to finish her DLC by taking down Two-Face and his large group of thugs. The combat portion is an easy, fun time, but the stealth portion against Harvey himself is much more worrisome. He has a grenade launcher and his men never stop replenishing. I'm supposed to take them all down and then take down Dent in a series of waves, but I think minimum risk is all about ending this as quickly as I possibly can. Which means my favorite tactic of hit and run, as I knock out anyone close to Two-Face, bash him a bunch, flee, wait for him to be alone, and repeat until he's down for the count. I breathe a sigh of relief as that ends Catwoman's DLC and I can embark on Robin's DLC as he searches for Batman, who went missing while trying to save some cops from Harley Quinn. Unlike Catwoman, I enjoy playing as Robin even more than I do Batman. He has access to both a handy zip kick and the ever-lovable bullet shield. Sadly, my love for Robin doesn't equal how long I get to play as him when I need to flash back pretty early on into playing as Batman. There's so many gunmen and snipers out and about, and they're exceptionally good at spotting me, which would be my end if I didn't have armor to endure it and the instinct to hustle immediately out of sight. Unfortunately, Harley knows this tactic and shoots at a cop hostage, causing Batman to pull the classic, "Get down, Mr. President," and be shot. Good thing he's wearing armor, and more importantly, he's Batman, so he's fine. Plus, it means I get to be Robin again as he continues to search for Bruce, so I'm all okay with this. Which, like, Batman's in the next room unguarded but locked up, so it is a very short search. Why put Batman in a death trap where he's running out of air and not even keep a single guard watching him? Or watch him die yourself as you hate him more than anything? Ugh, super villains and their quirks. I'll need to take Harley down in order to get the key she has to Batman's prison. Like the Catwoman versus Two-Face fight, this means I have to keep hurting Harley while avoiding death at the hands of her waves of henchmen. Unlike Catwoman though, I have good armor to withstand any punishment of my mistakes, smoky pellets to escape, a nice range of useful gadgets that allow me to knock enemies into Sleepy Town, and a grapple gun that allows me to get around so much faster. Basically, Robin is superior in every way. Turns out, Harley must have heard me complain about her not leaving anyone to guard Batman, because returning to free him, I find a room full of angry henchmen. I really gotta stop thinking out loud. Angry they may be, but ineffective as well. Honestly, at this point, when it comes to combat, I'm just embarrassed when I take any hit at all, so death is rarely a worry. I save that for when people have guns, not when they think they have a chance in a fistfight against one of the world's greatest martial artists. With Batman free, he takes over once again to disarm some bombs and face off against Harley's last trick, an army of robots that fight me while she shoots rockets at me. None of the robots have special attacks or weapons or really anything to worry about, so honestly, I'm not sure why she thought this would work. Maybe she didn't, and that's why she tries to blow me up. Though she seems to have forgotten both the bomb to do it and the platform she's somehow standing on, but that isn't stopping the place from going sky high. But once again, he's Batman. Blowing him up isn't nearly effective enough to beat him. With that done, Arkham City DLC has been beaten, and I can begin Arkham Knight. Knight has a series of short adventures as each of the Bat family, starting with Batgirl as she works with Robin to save her father, Commissioner Gordon, from the Joker's evil amusement park. My job is to save hostage cops, beat up henchmen, and disarm bombs. And you know, it is really easy. I do make silly mistakes, more than a few, but Arkham Knight's combat is way slower paced than any of the other Arkham games, making it pretty simple to avoid death. Not even Joker and Harley, backed by a bunch of goons, can make me break a sweat. I do wonder how I can break Joker's bones repeatedly, but he keeps getting back up like I did nothing. Apparently, Batman has broken his bones so much that he's not even fazed by it. Regardless, he goes down, and I mean that literally, as he escapes by parachute to terrorize the city another day. I just fought Harley Quinn, so naturally it's time to become her, as she breaks into Bloodhaven Police Department to rescue Poison Ivy. Harley forgoes stealth in favor of loud takedowns, but that's not a problem when she's packing so many bombs. All I have to do is knock someone out, place a bomb on their body, and wait somewhere safe to detonate it, racking up even more bodies. Add on to that, she has a crazed state that allows her to perform instant takedowns in a row, and even Nightwing can't stand a chance against her. Helps that he seems to have completely forgotten how to fight, but since I'm his enemy right now, I'm okay with that. With Poison Ivy free, I switch characters to Red Hood, the murderous, but really cool vigilante who has set his eyes on Black Mask's gang. I'm sorry, but like Arkham Knight combat is easy enough, but now I have guns that instantly kill people? Yeah, I think I can work with that. Whether by stealth or combat, Roman Sionis' gang is gunned down and the whole thing is over in 7 minutes. While Black Mask himself is extremely sturdy and can take a crazy amount of punishment, that doesn't really matter much when all I have to do is keep him stunned and beat him down on repeat till he becomes the devil's problem. What comes next though makes me feel like I joined Black Mask in hell, and I really come to regret saying how easy the combat is. The absolute worst Arkham section in all 4 Arkham games without a doubt. It's another Catwoman DLC, what a big surprise! It starts off alright, as I do standard Catwoman activities, sneaking, stealing, and contemplating the meaning of life as I wait for thugs to move far enough away from each other so I can make them slumber. But then I solve a little puzzle, go down an elevator, and realize that this elevator is a special elevator, as it delivers me right into my worst nightmare. You see, Selina is here to steal everything Riddler has, and Riddler, being the idiot genius he is, has kept his most powerful trap here as a last resort, instead of using it to kill the Batman, which would have made much more sense for him. Though admittedly, this would be so much easier if I was almost any other character other than Catwoman in her low gadget count. Dozens of robots attack me. All the while, I will need to avoid lasers that are soon joined by an electric floor, which wouldn't be so bad, except the electric floor continues to expand and take over the room, leaving me with very little safe room as I struggle to defeat all the robots before my health can hit 0. There is no finesse here. All I can do is strike as fast as I can, keeping my critical strike ability available and avoiding quick takedowns so I can smash the robots as hard as possible and hope that Selina doesn't happen to jump too far into the electric floor, as her movement becomes more of a matter of luck than skill. And I would need much more luck than I have to deal with this death trap, which means the cat is zapped. Okay, new plan, friends. How about as clearly the hardest section in all of Arkham, I focus on beating this place first, then work my way back through everything else. Except every single time I try, I find myself failing to this horrendous shrine to bad game design. Listen, it has been years since this game came out, and one shouldn't complain about what can't be changed. But I wasn't a challenge gamer then, so I think I'll settle for doing it now and hope my rage echoes into the past to find vengeance, nay, justice for this trial that I face now. Finally, 5th time's the charm. Wait, 5th? Really? Really, 5 times? It felt like so many more deaths than that. Either way, my luck holds and I barely, oh so barely survived to collect Riddler's fortune, and more importantly, finish Catwoman's DLC. But heck, this is a one-life challenge, so it's time to target the next hardest part of the challenge as I return to Catwoman's Arkham City DLC. Coming up against Two-Face again, I screw up badly and accidentally jump the wrong way, nearly paying the ultimate price when I startle his men. I follow that up with a rocket to the face, and I'm pretty certain I'm going to be sent back to Riddler's nightmare, And honestly, I deserve to be when I get hit yet again by Harvey, but I do not let up on him, scratching him till he stays down, and I claim a narrow victory. My time as Robin once again goes pretty smoothly, but I nearly am a dead bat when the snipers in this building have heightened senses, somehow noticing me no matter where I pop up. Usually, snipers have tunnel vision, so this is not a fun development. Only by luring the other gunmen to a spot blocking the snipers in order to take them down, and then using my gadgets to remove the snipers themselves as threats, am I able to keep my cow. Harley is more clever than normal by somehow making her bombs invisible, but I'm a bat, right? I don't need to see to know it's there, and then disarm them all anyway. She even somehow turns invisible herself, but it's a little too late to prevent Batman from winning. It only takes a short time to zoom through Arkham Knight's Harley, Red Hood, and Batgirl storylines again before I get to play as Nightwing, stopping the Penguin from escaping the GCPD. Nightwing doesn't have the greatest set of abilities, but he's my favorite of the Bat family, so there's no way I'm allowing myself to get even touched here by a few dumb goons, and yet again, it's over before I know it. There's not much to it, unfortunately, but I do always enjoy playing as the Flying Grayson. If only I could be as careful with Robin's storyline as he shuts down Two-Face's schemes and strives to prove himself worthy without Batman around to help him. Unfortunately for Tim Drake, I'm an overconfident fool who immediately lands in front of an armed guard, almost dying from my recklessness. I'm really glad Bruce faked his death, or whatever he did, so he wasn't around to see that boy wonder blunder. To make up for that mistake, I am much more careful in picking my targets, using fear takedowns and so many convenient perches to make the work simple. Sadly, I am still an idiot, there's no changing that, and what comes next proves it. Breaking into Two-Face's headquarters, what is usually a run-of-the-mill knockout and disarming of a couple goons and turrets instead is my undoing, as I misjudged the timing in my haste and end up committing the exact same mistake of landing right in front of an armed thug. Clearly, all gaming with me is challenge gaming, because boy do I not have the capacity to learn from my mistakes. The blinded turret behind me is counting down to when it will reactivate. I can't get closer to the gunman because of the other turrets, and I can't deal with the turrets themselves because he refuses to fall. So yeah, try as I might, this does not end well, and this little Robin falls without the bat to save him. Well, damn. Back to Catwoman, I guess. Only this time I don't even get to the basement hell, nor do I even have the luxury of dying. Instead, I end up becoming one with the furniture. I'm still much better off than this poor thug. Not much better, honestly, but still, I think a little bit better. Restarting, I beat the Riddler death trap right away, even if still barely. With this area, barely is the best I will ever do. I once again almost died defeating Two-Face right after, but I barely scraped by that as well, and then I fly through all the other City and Night DLCs without a problem till I'm back as Robin. Only to get myself shot right away again, multiple times! I survived, sure, but what is it about playing Robin in Arkham Knight that makes me so stupid? I know Robins love to die in the comics, but it doesn't have to translate here. At least I'm better about the timing, and where I died before is not any trouble. When I'm pit against all of Two-Face's men in combat, I embarrassingly take way too much damage, and I only do manage to overcome them by a small margin and bring an end to Two-Face's schemes. I am going to get my superhero license revoked with how dreadful my performance was with that one. At least returning to Origins is a chill way to spend my time, as I have zero problem putting Mr. Freeze's schemes on ice yet again. Maybe I should have taken more time to unfreeze all the civilians I saw, but they'll be fine. When has extreme paralyzing cold ever hurt anyone after all? With all those wins, you'd think I can say huzzah, but we're not quite there. I need to return to Arkham Knight to finish the job, but there's a catch. The last 4 DLC missions are hidden within the main game, as I must stop Mad Hatter, Killer Croc, a League of Assassins Civil War, and deal with Freeze once more. But they only unlock if I beat enough of the game. Croc, Hatter, and the League all don't take too much work, just a little over 2 hours of campaigning to unlock them, but it would take much more time to unlock Freeze's. Thankfully, I already have it unlocked and, importantly, untouched on my last Arkham save when I did my full 1 life challenge, so I got lucky with this one. Mad Hatter's is just a couple sequences of fun flashback fights, and it is no wonder when I beat that very easily. The League of Assassins one, though, that's a very interesting one, as I must choose to either help save Raish's life, which will allow him to regain power and cause who knows how much evil, or I can blow up the last of the Lazarus Pit, which is unnaturally keeping him alive, though honestly, he's more of a zombie in this state, so is he even killing? I've seen many arguments for both sides on what Batman would do, and honestly, I can't say. Even with all the Batman comics I have read, I don't know. I choose to go with the choice I normally make, and I blow up Raish's preservation, which doesn't directly kill Raish, if he's even still alive like this, but it will mean he has hours left in this zombie state before he passes away for good. Out of curiosity, I save him in my other run, and he murders Nyssa, his rebellious daughter, and escapes to cause who knows how much more evil. I genuinely don't know if stopping him technically breaks Batman's no-kill rule, as it's such a specific and odd case. I would love to know what you think, though. I do love that it very specifically captures the downsides of Batman's role, as it shows the immediate consequences of Bruce's unwillingness to let evil die. Anyway, I am getting a little sidetracked, but hey, it was an easy side mission and more food for the mind than a challenge. The clock ticks down quickly for Killer Croc when I have Nightwing's help, as Croc makes it really obvious when he's about to do anything at all. That leaves us to end with the same villain that started this challenge, Mr. Freeze. But this time, I'm helping the reformed Ice villain as we fight off Arkham Knight's soldiers in order to protect Nora, Freeze's wife. Like almost everything at night, apart from that cursed Catwoman section, it's not much trouble and even a little anticlimactic combat-wise, but it is a true sorrow as Nora and Freeze are reunited with no cure for Nora. They will live out what little time they have left together, and while they do, I hope they don't mind when I shout, "Huzzah!" After 14 hours, 45 minutes, 2 hours, 8 minutes of which was spent in Arkham Knight's campaign, and 7 hours, 43 minutes were of the final run, with a total of 6 deaths, I've beaten all of Arkham's DLC with only 1 life. Thank ye very much for watching, and boy am I just glad to never do that Arkham Knight Catwoman DLC ever again. I'll need months of therapy for that area alone, and you can vouch to my therapist for me on how hard it really is. For now though, I'm going back to contemplate and overthink whether I should have saved Raish or not. I hope you survive all that you encounter, friends, no matter how cold or insane it may get. See you later.